Charlie was 57 years old when he accidentally became an internet entrepreneur. And I say accidentally because he didn't set out to build an online business. He just wanted to prove his 19-year-old nephew wrong at Thanksgiving dinner. See, his nephew Marcus had made some comment about older people not understanding the internet economy, and Charlie, who had been working the same accounting job for 22 years, took that personally, really personally. So personally that he did what any rational middle-aged man would do. He went home that night, opened his laptop, and Googled how to make money online. What happened next wasn't what you'd expect, because Charlie didn't find success in the first week, or the first month. In fact, for the first 90 days, he made exactly $0.11. Yes, 11 cents. And that story, the real story of what happened between that Thanksgiving argument and Charlie's first actual paycheck, is what nobody talks about when they're selling you courses about passive income. Here's what Charlie discovered on day one of his search. The internet is apparently run by 23-year-olds with ring lights who all claim to make six figures while working 4 hours a week. Every video showed the same thing: somebody's laptop on a beach, a Lamborghini rental, a dashboard screenshot that definitely wasn't photoshopped, promise. Charlie watched 47 of these videos in one sitting. By video number 32, he'd opened 16 browser tabs about drop shipping, affiliate marketing, print on demand, Amazon FBA, and something called ClickBank that sounded vaguely illegal. By video 47, he had a headache and 3 different people wanted to sell him a course for $997. He closed his laptop and ate leftover turkey. But here's the thing about Charlie. He wasn't a quitter. He was just methodical. Boring, even. He'd been doing tax returns for 2 decades. He knew how to read fine print. He knew when numbers didn't add up. And most importantly, he knew that if something sounded too good to be true, it was probably being sold by someone with better video editing skills than business ethics. So Charlie did something weird. Instead of buying a course, he made a list. An actual physical list on a yellow legal pad because he's that kind of guy. The list had one question at the top. What do I actually know how to do? Not what he could learn, not what looked easy in a YouTube video. What did he already know? The list was shorter than he hoped. Taxes, Excel spreadsheets, organizing receipts, explaining complicated financial stuff to confused people. Not exactly the sexiest skill set for internet stardom. Day 12 was when Charlie had his first breakthrough. And it wasn't the breakthrough you're probably thinking. He didn't suddenly discover his passion. He didn't find a secret method. He just realized something incredibly obvious that somehow nobody had mentioned in any of those 47 videos. Every single online business, every single one, was just someone solving a specific problem for a specific person and getting paid for it. That was it. No laptop on a beach required. No Lamborghini necessary. Just problem, solution, payment. The fancy stuff was just decoration. This realization led to Charlie's second question. What problems did he know how to solve? He thought about his day job. Every April, the same people came to his office freaking out about the same things. How do I organize my receipts? What counts as a business expense? Should I file quarterly? Can I deduct my home office? These people weren't looking for a full accountant. They were looking for someone to just explain things in normal human language. And suddenly, Charlie had an idea so obvious he actually laughed out loud in his kitchen at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. What if he just answered those questions on the internet for money? Now, before you roll your eyes and think, yeah, obviously, remember that Charlie had never made a video in his life. He didn't have a ring light. He didn't know what SEO stood for. He'd never even left a YouTube comment. The gap between I have knowledge and I have an online business felt about as wide as the Grand Canyon. But Charlie had one advantage over all those 23-year-olds with ring lights. He'd been doing the same thing for 22 years. He knew his stuff cold. He could explain tax code in his sleep. And more importantly, he knew exactly what confused people because he'd been unconfusing them for 2 decades. Day 23 was when Charlie recorded his first video. It took him 6 hours. Not because the video was long, it was 8 minutes, but because he re-recorded it 14 times. His hands shook, his voice sounded weird, he said 47 times, which he knew because he counted. The video was titled 5 Business Expenses You're Probably Tracking Wrong. It had no intro music, no fancy graphics. Just Charlie sitting at his kitchen table, explaining things the way he'd explain them to a client. He uploaded it at 2 a.m. because he was too nervous to watch himself hit publish during daylight hours. Then he went to bed convinced he'd just embarrassed himself in front of the entire internet. The video got 3 views in the first week. One was his wife. One was Marcus, his nephew, who texted him, "Nice try, boomer," with a crying laughing emoji. The third view was probably Charlie himself, checking to see if it was still up. But here's what happened on day 31 that changed everything. A stranger left a comment. Just one comment. It said, "This actually helped me. Thank you." 5 words, no profile picture. Could have been a bot for all Charlie knew. But it wasn't nothing. It was proof that someone, somewhere, found value in what he knew. So Charlie made another video. Then another. He set a stupid little rule, 1 video per week no matter what. They weren't good videos. They weren't viral. Most got between 5 and 50 views. But Charlie kept going because, and this is the part that nobody tells you, the beginning is supposed to be bad. You're supposed to be awkward. Your first 100 anythings are supposed to be rough. That's not failure. That's just what learning looks like when you're actually doing it instead of just thinking about doing it. Month 4 was when the algorithm noticed Charlie existed. One of his videos, the home office deduction nobody tells you about, randomly got 2,000 views overnight. Charlie had no idea why. The video wasn't different from his other ones, but suddenly people were subscribing, commenting, asking questions. And then on day 127, someone sent him an email asking if he did consulting calls. They'd pay $100 for an hour of his time to review his business expenses. Charlie stared at that email for 20 minutes. Someone wanted to pay him money for his knowledge through the internet. He said yes, obviously. That hour-long call turned into a client. That client referred 2 more people. Those people left testimonials. Charlie put those testimonials in his video descriptions. More people booked calls. By month 6, Charlie was making an extra $800 a month. Not enough to quit his job, not enough for a Lamborghini, but enough to prove something to himself. It worked. The boring, obvious, no ring light version actually worked. Here's what Charlie learned that nobody mentioned in those 47 videos he watched on day 1. Building something online isn't about having the perfect idea or the newest strategy or the secret method. It's about taking what you already know, the boring, ordinary stuff you don't think is special because you've been doing it forever, and putting it in front of people who need it. That's it. No beach required. No fancy equipment. No teenage nephew's approval necessary. Just what do you know? Who needs it? How can you reach them? Everything else is just noise designed to sell you courses. Charlie's business now makes him about $3,000 a month in extra income. He still works his day job because he likes the stability and the health insurance, but he's got options now. He's got skills he didn't have a year ago. He can record a video without his hands shaking. He understands SEO. He's even got a ring light, though he mostly uses it to annoy his wife during video calls. At last year's Thanksgiving, Marcus asked him for business advice. He gave it to him for free. Because that's the other thing nobody tells you. Once you figure out how to solve problems for people online, you stop caring about proving things to anyone. You're just focused on the next person you can help, the next problem you can solve, the next small step forward. The lesson isn't that making money online is easy. It's not. The lesson is that it's possible. Boringly, obviously, one weird video at a time, possible. You don't need to be young or tech savvy or have a personality that translates well to camera. You just need to know something useful and be willing to share it badly at first, then less badly over time until eventually you're actually kind of good at it.
The secret is that there is no secret. There's just the work. And the work is available to anyone willing to start. Even at 57, even with 0 followers, even when your nephew thinks you're too old to understand the internet. Especially then, actually. Start with what you know. Find who needs it. Show up consistently. The rest figures itself out.